Oh, poor little baby, you gonna cry? Hi everyone, welcome back to another Scotty Karate video. Today we're going to be going over something that might be happening to you or has happened to you in the past. Or maybe it's you that's doing it. That on today's episode of cyberbullies, keyboard warriors, trolls. These are all things that you might run into or might be yourself. Well, what am I talking about in the martial art realm? That makes no sense, right? Well, this happens a lot. And the criticism and the ego gets a little old real quick. Just a side note, if you like the content and you like to see more of my videos, please don't forget to subscribe, and that'll help the channel out greatly. So when you're doing anything, such as if you're looking at someone's technique online, you see a friend that's doing something, and you're like, oh, no, you're doing it wrong. You know, those people, and if you're one of those people, understand I'm talking to you. It's ridiculous. And it's very childish. So what you'll run into is, case in point, I'll give you a true life story. I had a friend that was taking a judo class in college, right? She decided that she wanted to do that instead of her gym credit that she had to do anyway. I took martial arts, so she already had someone that was in the martial art realm, so she was like, I'll do it. That sounds fun. So I encouraged her to do it. She did. So she goes and she takes it. And after, a couple weeks, she comes back and she's like, hey, Scott, I have something to show you. There's these moves we've been working on, and some of which I understand and I think I'm really good at. And the others I have no clue how to do because I think I'm doing them wrong because they're not working at all. And at the time, we had another friend that was a martial artist who was, let's say mid-ranks. We'll say, I don't know what his style was, but he was in the middle somewhere. And he was like, oh, really? And he kind of stepped in. And me being me, I'm just like, okay, you handle you. If I need to step in or I have something to add, I'll add. I don't need to be the center of attention. So we all go outside to the little grassy area, and she shows a couple of the takedowns or throws that they've been working on, right? And all very basic stuff, basic hip throws. And his first thing that he said was, and I quote, "You're doing it wrong." Maybe. It depends on what the technique is. She was new. It could very well be possible that she's just doing it incorrectly. But she wasn't. And what was going on was his version was different, right? They might be in a different position. They might use a different part of the body, what have you. And so my favorite example of this is a kotegaeshi. If you don't know what a kotegaeshi is, it's where you get someone's wrist, you put your thumb on their hand and you torque it, and it's a 45-degree angle, and you throw them or, hurt the wrist or elbow, depending on what the scenario is. And I can't tell you how many kotegaeshi techniques there are, especially in different styles. Some bring it to the chest and do it. Some put it to the hip, and then they turn their whole body. Some do just a 45 straight down. Some put it to their body or chest, and then they turn their whole body using their body. There's tons of ways to do a basic kotegaeshi throw or wrist lock. It doesn't mean if I do, say, I come to my chest and turn my whole body, that doesn't mean I'm right and you're wrong if you bring yours to your hip and turn your whole body. You know what I mean? First off, it could be different applications, different reasons you would do a high versus low, blah, 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 blah. But I would never go, you're wrong! Mine's right! Just think how arrogant that is. The reality is there's multiple ways to do everything. And that's what was going on here. She had the basic technique right. She needed more practice, which is understandable. She'd done it a few times with a compliant opponent, which is all good. She's training. That's normal. But he was trying to show her his version, and he was doing it in a very condescending way. Very, you don't know what you're talking about. Your sensei sucks. If he taught you this, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Or you don't. Not to be rude, odds are the instructor that she was with knew more than the friend knew about her style and what they were teaching her. I know that's kind of convoluted, but the friend doesn't know why the teacher was teaching her that particular move in that particular way. It might be that the teacher sucks. Maybe the teacher doesn't know. Maybe the teacher's altering something because her friend was a bigger guy and she was a fairly small girl. All these factor. You can't just go, your technique's wrong. So what gets me is martial arts, like everyone, have a bad habit of trying to bring people down. You'll see it online all the time. You go to any forum, Reddit, online, YouTube, anything. And you'll get on there and inevitably one of the first comments under something is, this technique sucks, it would never work in a real fight, you're doing it wrong. Okay. First off, the odds that you know better, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, let's pretend it is. Is that honor and discipline you've been learning? That you have to, you suck? Come on. Now, with that, I'm a firm believer you got to have a thicker skin, so, oh well. But it is baffling to me where we teach, honor and respect and, knowing your lineage and your elders, and when you look to your right, you see your senpais, and knowing that they come before you and they have knowledge that you don't, you can learn from all the people ahead of you, and all these things we teach, and it's just prevalent in almost all martial arts. Nobody goes into a dojo and looks at the black belt and goes, I know more than you, unless they're just arrogant. It just is. I mean, if you go into that with that mentality, you've already lost because you could have gotten some knowledge. It is what it is. I mean, to put it in perspective, the great Bruce Lee learned from Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris has learned jiu-jitsu. I mean, there's always something to learn. I mean, you can't say Chuck Norris and be an excellent fighter and look over and go, jiu-jitsu, you do that what? You hug on the ground? You got nothing to show me. No, he went, hey, what's that? I want to learn that now. You got something I don't. Show me. All these people had great skill and then went, you know what? You over there, you have something I don't. You know something I don't. I want it. Give it to me. And that's a great way of thinking about it. You can't look at, say, the white belt coming in and going, you're nothing. I'm a yellow belt. I know more than you. But the white belt is a golden gloves boxer who's just wanting to add, say, kickboxing, karate, taekwondo, blah, blah, blah to his arsenal. He knows something you don't. And you know something he doesn't. You have to have that mentality. This just very arrogant attitude that you see a lot of people get. Just, I know more. You're doing it wrong. Your technique sucks. Blah, blah, blah. When did that become norm? Like, it baffles me. It really does. Because when I was growing up, when I teach, I don't try and instill that. I would never look at someone and go, your technique is garbage because you don't know what you're doing. There's probably reasons why. Especially if it's someone who's trained. If they're new, then maybe. I mean, you're teaching them the way of doing it. But to point someone out who's done something 100 times, 1,000 times, 10,000 times, and tell them their technique sucks, and from your keyboard or from a distance going, yeah, my style's better, or my technique's better. Okay, sure it is. It's very frustrating. So, if you run into that, try and have a thicker skin. The reality is most likely they have no clue what they're talking about, so don't let it get in your head. If you are that person, I'm talking directly to you now, grow up. I mean, if it is something that you feel needed to be addressed and you need to say, hey, whoa, you're going to break your wrist if you do that kodogaeshi like that. Maybe you should try this. This is how I do it, and I've learned X, Y, Z. That's a different tactic than, you suck. You don't know what you're doing. Come on now. Anyway, just wanted to rant. Got to get that off my chest because I see it all the time and it's just so annoying. And I don't know when that became socially acceptable in the martial art realm, but apparently it has. Anyway, if you liked the video, please like, comment, subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification bell in the corner so you know when my videos are posted each week. And as always, the more you train, easier to fight.